Hello and welcome to another edition of the Punters Guide. Yeah, it soon comes around, doesn't it? We've got the best of both worlds this weekend with the final few festival clues falling into place at Kempton and some cracking all-weather action both home and abroad as well. Jason Weaver's going to join us a little later on to look ahead to Lingfield and the action in Saudi Arabia. Good morning, Dixon, who's off to Kempton tomorrow. He's going to run the rule over the action at the Sunbury track. And morning, as I say, there's those final few festival clues, isn't it? Trying to picture together the Presby Park puzzle.
Yeah, potentially. I suppose the two novice races at Kempton could lend themselves to clues for Cheltenham, but good racing in its own right. I think on Saturday at Kempton, always a competitive day. We've got the big handicap chase, 3 mile handicap chase. That's probably one of the most competitive races of the weekend, and we'll also have a look at the Eider Newcastle in excess of 4 miles. The ground isn't going to be too testing at either of the jump tracks as long as the rain stays away. Calling it good to soft, good in places at Kempton as we speak. There's just a chance that dries out a little bit as well. They're only forecast very light showers on Friday, and it should be a dry day on Saturday. So I think we're going to be looking at decent ground conditions, Matt, for the time of the year.
Yeah, we're a little bit worried about the Eider, weren't we? With the rain we had last week and the storms, that would have been, could have looked like it was going to be bottomless, but fingers crossed it isn't, Trish. No, we'll get to that shortly. We're going to start at Kempton. You mentioned the novice hurdles. Well, usually the Adonis does throw up a genuine Triumph hurdle candidate. We've already got one coming in here, I think, in Night Salute, who's going to head the market because he beat Porticello when we last saw him at Donny.
Yeah, he did, and he's been fantastic already this season. 4 from 4 in what has been a brilliant year for Milton Harris and his yard right the way through. They've had any number of high-profile winners and progressive horses through the season, but chief amongst them is Night Salute. 4 from 4, already a course and distance winner at Kempton earlier on in the season. He's won 2 Grade 2s at Cheltenham and Doncaster already. And I think a worthy market leader on that basis. He's the horse with experience that sets a good standard. He's proven at the track. The ground conditions will be spot on for him, and he's got to have a good chance. There are any number of unknown quantities in this field, however. We've got Pleasant Man, hurdling debutant for Paul Nicholls, who he was a progressive horse and a useful horse on the flat during his time with Roger Charlton. Paul's also got Roubaud, another hurdling debutant that's come over from France and had some useful form in France for his previous connections. And then Venetia Williams got the famous 5. Remember those Enid Blyton books well, but this horse cost €250,000 back in August after winning 2 starts on the flat in France. So they went to big money to get his to get him over here into the UK, and he makes his debut for Venetia Williams. So there's loads of unknown quantities in the field. My money's going to be on Impulsive One, however, and that will be an each-way selection. Impulsive One for James Bowen and Nicky Henderson. Now, Night Salute has beaten him already this season, but only by a length at Doncaster. Impulsive One probably over-raced a little bit that day. He was just a little bit too keen to see his race out, but there was only a length between them, and with that in mind, I think 2-1 versus 6-1, there's just a little bit too much between them at the prices. And each way bet for me, Impulsive One, I think your money's going to be fairly safe there. He should certainly run very well and hit the frame, and he might be up to winning.
Well, Impulsive One each way. I think $250,000's about the price of a limited edition Enid Blyton book set, isn't it? All the famous 5. Right, move on to the Pendil then. This is the novice chase over 2.5 miles. Pick Dory looking to bounce back. But I was kind of intrigued that Brian Hughes makes the trip down to Kempton. Yes, it's a Grade 2, but with his comments the other week about Cheltenham and he loves riding winners, there's a few penalty kicks at Newcastle, imagine, for Donald McCain. The tougher down at Kempton. So I thought it might be significant that he does come and ride Manella Drama.
Yeah, this is one of the highest profile horses in the McCain yard, Manella Drama. We know what a fantastic season it's been for Donald McCain and Brian Hughes. And I think this would be a nice way to sort of cap a big Saturday win, wouldn't it, with Manella Drama? And I do fancy him as well. I was really impressed with him last time at Haydock. He's a little bit quirky. He can take a strong hold. He can carry his head a little bit awkwardly and take a little bit of cajoling. But I think 2.5 miles is very much his trip. And yet he's only had the one start over the 2.5 mile over fences, which was last time out at Haydock. He absolutely dotted up that day. He beat 3 horses who'd won their previous starts into 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Came home 9.5 lengths clear of them. And go back to last season over hurdles, he was runner-up in the Grade 1 at Aintree over 2.5 miles as well. So I think 2.5 miles is the right distance for him. Pick Dory likely to give him a good lead, but that's what Minella Drama wants. Like I say, he wants something to just hang on to the back of a little bit, because he can be a little bit quirky. But when he's got a target to aim at, I think he's pretty smart, and conditions should be very suitable for him. So Minella Drama for me to turn over Pick Dory in the Pendil.
Yeah, unanimous. I think Melodrama, huge chance for Donald McCain. Move on to 3 o'clock. Another one of these novice hurdles, looking towards the Supreme, really, the Dovecote. Shall we have one more? Not because it's in the same colours and the same connections as Goshen. There are, I think, similarities, isn't there? Although he probably is a little bit less quirky. He looks headstrong. We saw that at Sandown. He's certainly got a decent engine, but he looks a little bit skinny in the market for me.
Yeah, too short for me as well. He's going to be a short price favourite. Shall we have one more? Very good last time out, won by 20 lengths at Sandown, but he was a 4-9 favourite. He was entitled to go and win that in good style. That's exactly what he did from the front. The time was nothing flash there, and they kind of left him alone. So I think at a skinny price, we can get against this one. Shall we have one more? And the horse for me is Orc and Risk for Chris Gordon and Tom Cannon. Now, Chris won this race 2 years ago with Highway 102. So he's got previous in the race itself. Orc and Risk got loads of experience. He's had a busy season, but he's held his form really well throughout the season. And I thought he was very good last time out in a handicap, admittedly, but he completely destroyed the field, and he did it in a good time as well. Pretty quick ground that we're likely to get at Kempton tomorrow, or ground that's certainly not going to be too testing. That will be perfect for him. He's uncomplicated, he's genuine, he's thriving. I think he's a big price to turn over. Shall we have one more? So Orc and Risk, just about the best bet of the weekend for me.
There we are then. Oh, he's giving us early Orc and Risk. Just a little mention for Mariko Devassi as well, who's he's 3 from 4. He fell. He was going to bustle up Balco Costa when coming to grief last time. I thought he could go well. Maybe at a double-figure price. Move on to the handicap then that you've teased, the big handicap, Racing Post, Racing Plus, whatever it guys it is, Cole Trophy. It comes in now. Right, I need a winner off you because I'm already behind the 8 ball this weekend. I've been about Mr. Malarkey anti-post for this. He's not turned up. So which of the 14 are going to get me back in the red?
You know what? I'm not that sold on how competitive this is. There's plenty of these that I'm not that keen on. I like 5-Star Getaway, who has had a really progressive 12 months. He's won over course and distance already back in December, when actually he had a couple of these in behind him. But he also had in second place that day Fortescue, winner since, Phlegmatic, who we see earlier on the card at Kempton, but he was a next time out winner on the back of being beaten by 5-Star Getaway. So that form is strong. It was over the course and distance on similar ground to what we're going to get tomorrow. And I thought last time out at Sandown, he just found himself a little bit too far back off the pace. You know how difficult it can be at Sandown to make up ground having been held up. Well, that was the case last time out for 5-Star Getaway. The first 2 who beat him that day were always leading or prominent through the race, and he just had a little bit too much ground to make up. So I think he can get back on the winning curve, 5-Star Getaway, a track that we know suits him, and back off a stronger gallop as well tomorrow afternoon. So 5-Star Getaway for me in the Coral Trophy.
Yeah, 1 of 3 for Christian Williams, but he's the shortest price one, and yeah, he loves it at the track, as he proved there last time, or 2 starts ago. Right, you said not so competitive. What do you think of the Eider then? Because as we're recording this, there's been a monster gamble on the Irish Raider, History of Fashion now for Pat Farhey, an easy winner last time out.
Yeah, I mean, he could be well ahead of the game, couldn't he? It was his handicap chase debut last time out at Down Royal. He went clear of them very easily late on in the race. That was a step up in trip to 3 miles as well, a step back up in trip to 3 miles that day. Will he stay as far as this? I'm not certain about it. I think the juice in his price has kind of gone already. He's stepping up from 3 miles to 4 mile 1 furlong. So it is a hell of a hike up in trip again, isn't it? Maybe it will suit him, but he's kind of got to go and prove that to some extent, I suppose. Another horse that's got to prove himself over as far as this is Domaine de Lille, but he has won at the track before. I've always thought that he was a strong stayer for Sean Curran's yard. He had a really good spring last year, winning at Kempton and Cheltenham, going up the weights. Then he came back and ran a really big race, I thought, in the Bobbyjo Chase in early December to finish 4th. And that race was a really thorough test of stamina, wasn't it, over the 3¼ miles on the national course on heavy ground. And I thought he ran really well to finish fourth. They then gave him a spin over hurdles at Southall in early January, but he's not had too busy a campaign, Domain de Lille. He's already proven at the track. I think the trip will suit him, and is an each-way price, having slipped to 144 as well, the same mark as he was successful off at Cheltenham last season. So Domain de Lille for me, each way in the Eider. But to answer your question, it is very competitive, and it'll be small stakes for me in that race.
One race I want to have a look at over in Ireland with Cheltenham just around the corner, though, is the Grand National Trial, Bobbyjo Chase, named after the 1999 winner. 4 go to post, Martin, the 3rd and 5th from last year's marathon at Aintree, taking on a pair of Gordon Elliott runners.
Yeah, I always tread carefully with these races. Small fields in Ireland, you know that pretty much all of them are going to have the Grand National as their main target. Pick of the weights would be Burrows Saint, already a course winner. Ascaria 10, I would say, is of some interest with the blinkers fitted. He's a horse that has always looked like a proper staying type. I think it's a type of race that could suit him, and the blinkers replacing the cheek pieces could just have a positive effect on Ascaria 10. He's always given the impression that sort of thing might help him, some more severe headgear. But as I say, small field, horses that have bigger targets ahead, I'd tread very carefully with the Bobbyjo this weekend.
There we are, then tread very carefully. But I don't want to tread carefully for your best bet. I think you might have teased it a little earlier. What is the nap of the weekend?
Yeah, Orkin Risker in the Dovecote. I think he's a good bet. The favourite looks too short. I'd say that his form is every bit as good, if not a little bit better. His times are quicker as well that he's achieved so far for Orkin Risk. So yeah, I like his chance. I think he's well overpriced in the Dovecote.
There we are then, Orkin Risk in the Dovecote for Martin. But we don't end there. That's the jumps action dealt with this weekend. We've got some cracking action on the flat as well at Lingfield and over in Saudi Arabia for the Saudi Cup. So we'll get the thoughts for that with Jason Weaver. We've got some cracking flat action as well to look forward to. And look who's back. Delighted to say the Shark, Jason Weaver, is going to join us to look ahead to the Winter Derby and the world's richest race. That's coming up shortly. But good to be back, Jason. Great card on the all-weather. And the Winter Derby, looking forward to it this afternoon.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant, isn't it? Look, there is decent money on offer, and we've got some good horses turning up. 62,000 to the winner, obviously dwarfed by the over 7 million to the winner as far as Saudi is concerned. And young David Egan, who'd have thought that lottery ticket called Mishrif would come rolling along and just fall into his lap for Prince Faisal last year. Will he manage to back up? We'll get stuck into that a little bit later. But the Winter Derby is a cracker, really, isn't it? And if we were to look strictly at ratings, I think that Alan Kerr and Lord North are the two standouts. I don't know how you've got them as far as the market is concerned at present.
Lord North's around about even money. Obviously, he was switched. He was supposed to be in Saudi. He was switched. So he's around about even money. Alenka at 3-1. And then Fancy Man, who won the trial. Richard Allen said he was going off his travels, but he hasn't. He stayed at home to tackle this.
Yeah, and I mean, watching it back, looking at the sectionals, he's a real grinder, isn't he, Fancy Man? And he sort of came round and he put those that reappear to the sword pretty easily. The likes of Al Zarakan, who had a soft time up on the front end. I just can't see why he's going to turn that around. You've got last year's winner, Forest of Dean, King of the South. He'll be hoping to get a pinch closer. Probably didn't get any luck whatsoever behind Fancy Man and just sort of stayed on in the closing stages. Alan Kerr has got some very good form in the book, hasn't he? I mean, all right, you can say he was latched onto the tail of Mishrif, 6 lengths, but he was in against some good ones. But he doesn't strike me as being the quickest. So I have to say that Lord North, Rab Havlin's got a tremendous record on him. 4 from 6 he is, all told. Managed to win the Brigadier Gerard on him, amongst others. He'll probably, if all his problems are behind him, just be far too good. I think he can latch onto the tail of them. And we know how Lingfield, they zip down the straight. He should just have too many gears.
Yeah, the Lord North for John and Thady Gosden in the Winter Derby. Around about £70,000 to the winner there. That's like loose change down the sofa then, what he could win in the Saudi Cup, because they've got Mishrif, a real good car though. Plenty of them coming from all over the world, of course, for the richest race in the world. Mishrif, though, if he wins this, take his earnings to over £18.5 million. What a star.
Yeah, he'll become the richest racehorse lifetime wise, won't he? Which will just be remarkable. Just a word of caution though. John and Thady Gosden, 19 runners up to this point without a winner. There's two ways of looking at this. Wow, they're woefully out of form. 14 of those 19 have finished second, third, and fourth. That's the absolute key, isn't it? But they're not sort of popping along. Now, does Mishriff have a stranglehold on this race, the same as Lord North does in the Winter Derby? I don't think so. We know he's got all the attributes. They're talking about him being drawn wide. That doesn't matter. He'll go forward. He got a handy pitch last year, and he'll just keep on going. I mean, I don't know if there is some sort of spread. The Japanese are coming over in force. They've got strong runners all the way across the card on the big meeting going for the money, even though their own money at home is absolutely ridiculous as well. So for them to have two or more winners, I wonder what sort of price that would be. And Theo Keynes, who goes in there, he's a fascinating runner. However, Mandaloon managed to put to the sword some really, really top notches the last few times he's been out on the track. He was beaten, obviously, in the Kentucky Derby by Medina Spirit, who's had his number taken down for a failed drugs test. So on all known form, he could be coming in here with a pretty impeccable record. I think Mandaloon is just going to be far too good. Brad Cox, Florence Giroux on board, just with that sneaking feeling that the Gosden team are operating a little bit below that level. Lord North has got enough in hand to get away with it. Has Mishriff got enough to get away with it in this sort of lineup? I don't think so.
It'll be quite an emotional winner, wasn't it? Mandaloon and the colours of the late Prince Khalid Abdullah, of course, in Riyadh. So, yeah, be a very topical winner as well. So we had loads of cracking racing, Lingfield and abroad at Saudi. An idea of a best bet for the weekend or something we can get stuck into? Yeah,
but honestly, if you're putting one for the cornerstone of your ACCA, I think that Lord North, it's not very often you can look at a race and think, wow, he's turning up here. It just goes to show how good the racing on the all-weather has come. He'd be the first leg. And I'll tell you what, I was watching the football the other day. How bad were Man United? Oh, my word. How did they get away with a 1-1 after that performance? Second leg, they are in big, big trouble.
Let's go to qualify again. Then let's go to they were absolutely shocked. It was a first shot on target after 18 minutes. So Lord North and let's go Madrid. But you didn't expect that this weekend. So best of both worlds this weekend. Of course, some cracking jumping action. The final few festival clues and the flat starting to crank up again. Just a month of the Lincoln. Some great all-weather action home and abroad this week. Thanks to Jason. Thanks to Martin as well for all his thoughts. We'll be back in this weekend. Best of luck.